Have you ever wondered why we can achieve so much in the outside world, yet still feel kind of empty inside? Well, what if an ancient Chinese manual on meditation actually held the key to that very modern problem? Today we're diving into The Secret of the Golden Flower, a mystical text that didn't just survive for centuries, it completely captivated one of the greatest minds of the 20th century, Carl Jung.
So, to really get why this ancient text is so powerful, we have to start with a problem that I think you'll agree feels incredibly current. It's this fundamental imbalance in our lives that so many of us are wrestling with every single day.
I mean, just think about it. We live in this age of unbelievable external achievement, right? We build skyscrapers that touch the clouds, we send robots to other planets, we can talk to anyone on Earth in an instant. We are, for all intents and purposes, masters of the outer world. So, why do so many of us feel this deep sense of inner chaos, or just a plain emptiness? That's the core question this text just forces us to look at.
Carl Jung, when he wrote his commentary on this text, he just hit the nail on the head. He basically said that by focusing all our energy on controlling the world out there, we completely neglect the world in here. And that inner world, it doesn't just go away, it festers. It becomes the source of what he called demonic forces, which is really just a dramatic way of saying our own unchecked anxieties, our neuroses, the things that can totally sabotage our lives from the inside out, no matter how successful we look on the surface. Okay, so if we're living in this constant state of imbalance, how in the world do we find our way back? Well, this is where our text comes in. It's basically a map, a guide to that inner world we've forgotten, a way to cultivate something it calls the golden flower. And believe me, this is not some modern self-help fad. This text has a long and, frankly, pretty secret history. It supposedly started way back in the 8th century with a legendary Taoist master and was then whispered about in these small, secret circles for literally 1,000 years. It wasn't until 1931 that it finally exploded into the Western world, all thanks to an incredible translation and, of course, that mind-bending commentary from Carl Jung.
So what exactly is this golden flower? The text is really clear. It's not a physical thing you can go out and find. It's a symbol, a really powerful one. It represents the light of your own consciousness, your true, unified self that's buried underneath all the noise of your daily thoughts and feelings. It's the very core of your being, and it's just waiting to be cultivated.
So, if the golden flower is the destination, how do we actually get there? How do we grow it? Well, the text lays out a very specific practice, a kind of meditation, that's designed to gather and strengthen this inner light. The core of the practice is called the backward flowing method. Now, I know that sounds super mystical, but the idea is actually beautiful in its simplicity. Think about it. All day long, our energy, our attention, our consciousness, it all flows outward to our work, our phones, our relationships. This method is simply about consciously reversing that current. It's about turning your attention back inward to the very source of where that awareness comes from.
And the method itself is surprisingly practical. It's not about trying to force your mind to be empty, which is impossible anyway. It's about redirecting it. You just start with quietness, you soften your gaze inward. The real key is to let your focus rest in that space between the eyes, and then simply tune into the natural rhythm of your breathing. That's it. It's a way of gathering all your scattered pieces back to one central point.
Now, this is where the story gets really wild. When Carl Jung read this ancient manual, he was absolutely floored because he saw in these ancient Taoist ideas an almost perfect mirror of the psychological map he'd been building his entire career by working with modern Western patients. It was uncanny.
You see, Jung's biggest idea was the collective unconscious. The simplest way to think about it is like a psychic blueprint that we're all born with. Underneath our own personal memories and quirks, there's this shared layer of universal symbols and patterns. He called them archetypes. It's the reason why a myth from ancient Greece or a symbol from 8th century China can still hit us so hard today. They're tapping into this common human software we all share.
And this is where it gets just jaw-droppingly cool. The Taoist text talks about balancing two parts of the soul. The hun, which is the rational, intellectual part, and the po, the instinctual, passionate part. Jung looked at that and saw a perfect reflection of his own concepts of the animus and the anima, the inner masculine and feminine energies that he believed every single person has to bring into balance to become a whole person. It was the same idea, just in a different language.
So we have this ancient Taoist path of circulating the light,
and this modern psychological path of integrating the unconscious. And what's so remarkable, so mind-blowing really, is that they both lead to the exact same destination.
The Taoist text says that if you do this inner work long enough, you create a spirit body. Now, we're not talking about becoming a ghost or anything. It's a symbol for an immortal, unified self, a part of you that isn't just tossed around by the chaos of the world or the fear of death anymore.
And just listen to how Jung puts it. He says, this spirit body, which the text also calls the diamond body, is a perfect psychological symbol for what he called individuation. And that's just his term for the lifelong journey of becoming a truly conscious, whole, integrated person, a self that's durable, clear, and incorruptible, just like a diamond.
So here's the bottom line. You have these two incredible traditions, separated by 1,000 years and half the globe, and they are both describing the exact same fundamental human journey. The path from being fragmented and lost in the outside world to becoming a unified, integrated, and whole self.
So why does any of this matter to us today, in our crazy hypermodern world? Well, it matters because it gives us a map, a timeless guide for exploring our inner world, which is something we are so rarely taught to do. It shows us that our personal struggles aren't just ours, they're part of a universal human story. And most importantly, it suggests a real, tangible path towards becoming psychologically whole, reconnecting us to a wisdom that understood the inner life is the greatest adventure we can ever take.
But Jung leaves us with a really critical warning, and he borrows it from an old master. The point is not to just blindly copy these Eastern practices. If you do that, it's just another way of looking for answers outside yourself, another distraction. The real goal is to use the wisdom in this text as a lens, as a tool to better understand and work with our own unique modern psyche. In the end, the secret of the Golden Flower doesn't just hand us answers, it gives us much better questions. It offers a kind of universal template, a map to this vast territory inside all of us. So the final question isn't just about understanding their map, it's about turning to ourselves and asking, what does my own inner map look like? And am I brave enough to start exploring it?